Hi everyone, Adrian here and welcome to Wild Bush and Grit. Today in this episode, very difficult topic I'd like to discuss, and it's the ethical questions around hunting. Should we be hunting? I want this video to serve non-hunters to maybe make up their mind whether they should be hunting or not. And I also want to set the record straight on some of the stuff that I've been reading online about hunters from anti-hunters literature, which I find funny, sometimes ludicrous, or completely bogus. And it's like I feel like there's a lot of dishonesty from anti-hunter propaganda on huntings in order for them to win the general public opinion and win their case and have hunting to be banned altogether. Let me start with why I hunt, and for you non-hunter looking into hunting, you can decide whether it's for you or not. That's me. Maybe this is not going to be the reason for you, but anyway. Me personally, what drove me to hunt is to get access to great quality food. Bottom line, this is where it started for me. Now, anti-hunters says that we're causing pain and trouble, and unnecessary pain to the animals and all that we're killing for fun. And to me, as a hunter, actually getting quality meat also means that getting animal that hasn't been abused in their lives. Okay, we've read lots of report on the big industrial complex of the meat production, how meat becomes meat. The overcrowded farm, all the pathology animals are developing and all these things. And me going out there and hunting kind of subtract myself from that equation. I am not funding that food complex, and I take my dollar somewhere else. I'm actually funding wildlife management, and I'm getting my meat from where it should be coming from. That's basically how I see it. Now, I'm well aware we cannot all be hunters. That wouldn't be sustainable. So to me, to hunt today is a privilege, and I'm super grateful to be able to do that. On hunter causing pain and killing animals and all this, yes, we are killing animals. Yes, we are hurting them sometimes. Are we doing it unnecessarily? No. I don't think anyone is out there, unless psychopath, to just inflict pain on animals. I have lots of friends who hunts, and none of them, never, ever, came in the conversation that, one of us like to see the pain in the animal eyes or whatever. We're not psychopath. It's, that idea that we're killing for fun is ludicrous. And again, in hunting, you have good apples, you have bad apples. Like on the road, you have good drivers and bad drivers. The bad drivers don't make the norm, and PETA and friends seems to ignore that fact. Okay, the bad apples doesn't make the norm. That cherry picking stories that only confirm your narrative is dishonest, in my opinion. If you want to represent hunting and convince the general public that hunting is bad, please take hunting in its entity. Don't cherry pick. It's like if tomorrow I were to make a case against car, and I would only picking all the bad accident that happened in recently, and this is driving. See, driving has killed X amount of people last year. Driving is bad. Please ban driving. This is very dishonest because this is not what driving is, okay? That tendency to generalize and take horrible stories and apply that to the whole group, I feel personally attacked and insulted when I'm saying stuff like that. And it's one of the reasons why I'm making this video is I hope that video can shed some light and actually help other people understand why hunters usually do and what we are after, what makes us do what we do. And if you're a non-hunter looking into hunting, you're not sure whether you should do or not, I highly recommend you to watch Meat Eater It's a show hosted by Steve Rinella, and I think, you know, he's way more eloquent than I am on the subject. And it's a great place for you to start. You know, if you want to understand what hunters are after, I think Steve Rinella is a good reference. So, are we causing harm to animals? I don't think we're causing any more harm to animals to what they're susceptible to receive, okay, or to the animals that are being farm raised. And let me explain that. So, anti-hunters tend to project their experience in their life onto other animals and thinking this is the norm for all life form on Earth. And they're mistaken in the fact that the life in the wild is not a life in the city. Us humans, usually we will die of disease in our beds, surrounded by friends and family. But truth is, most deer, for example, will not die peacefully. You know, they will not grow old and curl up into a ball one night and die in their sleep. They will, as they grow old, they will weaken. They will either die of starvation or they will be eaten by another predator. And I believe, and I'm sure that my rifle will kill a deer with way less pain that a wolf will inflict to a deer, or 2 or 3 weeks of starvation can do to an animal. And I'm not, coming here saying, hey, I'm an angel of mercy, and I'm actually taking away all that pains from these animals. That's not what I'm saying. I'm sure the few seconds that I'm shooting that deer, I'm sure the pain is real. The struggle is real. I'm well aware of that. But what I'm saying is I am not causing more pain to that animal that it would have already endured. Okay? There's a nuances here, and I hope you catch that. The animal that I took already contributed to the cycle, to the circle of life that it was part of with. And I am part of that circle of life. I am not outside of wildlife. Anti-hunters tends to see humans here doing their things and the wildlife here doing their things. This is far from being truth. Humans and wildlife are intertwined. It's to me, it's the same thing. And actually, dissociating ourselves from that wildlife is where the disconnection starts, and you're not seeing wildlife for what it is, because you don't see the correlation between wildlife and yourselves. I know I am part of that circle. I know the tools that I'm using in wildlife are unconventional, so to speak, but the brain we got as humans, all other animals use what they have to their advantage to survive, and this is what humans do as well. Funny things that I'm reading online is like, oh yeah, if such a big man, why don't you go hunt bare hand? It's like, I don't need to hunt bare hand. What? I'm trying to get meat. Why would I go out and hunt bare hand? That doesn't even make sense. And you know what? Okay, let's assume I was going out and hunt bare hand. Do you know the amount of pain I have to inflict a deer for it to die with my bare hand? I know I can kill a deer with my bare hand, but the problem is the suffering and the stress that animal will feel. No, I don't hate deers. I like them. I also like to eat them, but when I kill them, I want to do it cleanly. And the idea of using bare hand to go hunt an animal is just, anyway, I don't want to say it, but it's not very mature, okay? There's a lot of non-hunter that are not vegan, okay? And they don't have, they say, like in our conversation, it's like they say they don't have in them what will make them kill a deer because they can't do it. And this is fine, this is what most of the people actually are on the planet. And it's okay, get your meat from the store, and that's fine. I understand. But an anti-hunter that is not vegan, meaning like he's anti-hunting, but he goes eat burgers and ham and bacon, I think you're confused, my friend. I think you're really confused, and you need to sort things out in your mind before we can engage in a comprehensible debate. I see no difference, and actually there is one difference, but I see no difference between eating an animal that is farm raised versus an animal that is harvested in wildlife. The difference that I see is the animal that has been harvested in wildlife had a normal life and has contributed ecologically in its own habitat and circle of life. So to me, that's a plus. So the true question on whether we about hunting and all these things is actually, to me, it boils down to, should we be eating meat or not? Yeah, and this is a question that is worth discussing. Anything else doesn't matter as long as we don't solve that first riddle. Should we be eating meat? To me, the answer is easy, and it's yes. And why? It's because, well, that's very simple. Humans are omnivore. We've evolved to eat all sort of food, making sure that we always have some sort of food source somewhere. And that's how we manage to evolve and survive up until today. An animal that is very like koalas, for example, who only eat eucalyptus, are highly susceptible to disappear tomorrow. If there is a disease and all the eucalyptus tree were to disappear, the koala will disappear with it. Okay. But one of our strengths is, by being omnivore, we survive through many disasters in the past up until today. Why change things now? I don't know. I don't know. I tried being vegetarian, not even vegan, vegetarian for a month, and I didn't like it. After a few weeks, I was craving for that juicy steak, and it's profoundly ingrained in my own DNA to actually crave meat. Now, that being said, being a hunter actually made me reduce my meat consumption, because I usually from now on, I'm eating, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, I'm eating meat that I kill. And yes, I'm capable of having a complete lunch, a complete day without eating meat, but at some point during the week, that craves kicks in. So I guess, we'll have to see, like, to me, the main argument for vegan is, today we have the capability to sustain ourselves without the need to kill an animal and survive, right? Okay, so we can eat a lot of stuff that doesn't require us to kill an animal to eat. And they're right, we can. My question is, me personally, I have a strange feeling about that moral stance on that. Moral ground varies based on your social context. So if today someone living in a city doesn't need to kill an animal, so it's, he's vegan, it's fine. But that person that lives far off north in Alaska or northern Quebec, who relies on hunting, all of a sudden that's okay for that person to eat meat. So to me, it's I personally have problem with that varying morality. Like, usually when I have a moral stance on something, no context can make it change. And let me explain that. So, for example, one of my strong stance, and usually I'm a moderate guy, and as I rarely see things in black and white. Everything is a shade of gray for me, except maybe one thing, which is the concept of human decency and the respect we owe to each other. This, to me, is, I will never steer away from that moral concept. There is no context in which this will vary to me, okay? And no matter what happened, society collapse or whatever, I will always respect other human beings and understand their right, that we have the same right. For anti-hunters, to me, that concept of eating meat is actually something that can fluctuate based on your context, where it's more acceptable if there was a society collapse and we couldn't produce the food that we're producing today. All of a sudden, it will be okay to hunt and eat. meat. So if it's okay then, if it was okay back then, why all of a sudden it's not okay now? Because we only have the capability of making it. So anyway, it's, you know, it's not, that concept doesn't gel for me. Maybe you can explain it in the comment, please. Like, I'm making this to spark conversation so we can engage in comprehensible dialogues, all right? I hope I've been respectful to your ideology so far, and I also expect you to do the same when you enter your comments, okay? I will not engage with people that are not looking into dialogue. Name calling or, you know, threatening with violence, I will not respond to that. Actually, if you're even threatening with violence, this is super weird, because you're against violence against the animal, but you allow yourself to be violent against other human being. Yes, you're confused. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Please let me know in a comment what you think. I know this is not an easy subject. We all had... Oh, wait a minute. One more thing that I want to discuss. And it's the... Especially to anti-hunter who find themselves confronting hunters in the wild. And I'm saying this because not everyone is aware, but there are laws and regulation that you need to know. And the first thing is preventing someone from lawfully hunting or fishing is illegal, okay? And if you find yourself interfering with someone angling or hunting in any shape, way, or form, making noise, scaring away animals or whatever, you could face fines. You could face charges, fines, and even jail time. Okay, so be careful what you do when you're out there. To hunters, know your right. No, if you're in your right to hunt and fish, no one can come and stop you from doing what you're doing. Let them know that you're aware of your rights and that you're not afraid to call authorities if needed be. They need to understand that if they have a problem with hunting and fishing, they can take that up to the lawmakers. It's not for them to solve it with you, okay? One thing I can mention also is the contribution of hunters and anglers to wildlife conservations. And this is an argument that anti-hunters usually hate to hear. And the reason is being for them, they're only seeing that as, yes, but you're only paying to maintain something that you're using. It's not that simple, and it's not that black and white. Conservation helps everything, helps everyone, helps wildlife, and also help other human beings. It's not only about the game animal that we're after. It helps the entire ecosystem. And today, if there are parks that people are able to go in and hike and camp, that a lot of it's due to the fact that hunters and anglers has been paying out their pocket for a century. And these parks today exist because of the contribution of hunters and anglers. All right? And this is something anti-hunters don't want to give us, but this is something I'm very proud of to be part of. And if those parks weren't secured or saved, they all would have been in the hand of big corporations today. For water, for mining, forestry, all these things. So it's, you know, I hope anti-hunters stop seeing us as enemy because we're killing Bambis, and they actually truly seeing what actually happened out there and what we're responsible of. Okay, and I plead them to not take some of the exceptions to the rules. You know, the gory image that we see of some unscrupulous individuals and don't make it the norm. Do not attach me to these people, because I am not these people, and no one in its right mind kills for fun. No one in its right mind like to see animals suffering. So please stop the lie on putting this on the back of all hunters and anglers. Thank you. All right, now I'm done. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments what you think. What are your experiences in the past? I'm sure we all had our runnings with anti-hunters or discussion, and even within family and debate and all that. So what are your arguments for hunting? What are your argument against hunting? I'd like to know. We're here to share. We're here to exchange, and it's only through honest dialogues that we will move forward. Okay.